Mainstream media praises dead Cuban dictator. Hello everyone, Jen here, Golden State Times, and today we have a news story. This one comes courtesy of the Gateway Pundit, and it says that Fidel Castro is dead. Marxist dictator dies at the age of 90, and this is very good for the Cuban people. This is very good for anybody that was affected by this Cuban dictator. Our fellow Cubans, brothers and sisters, had to escape the tyrannical regime of this vicious Marxist dictator. And now that he is dead, a lot of people are celebrating out in the streets in Cuba. And they're celebrating out in the streets in Cuba, they had to do it, in hiding. But they're celebrating in Havana, Little Havana in Miami, all over Florida, and all around the country, and even all around the world. But the problem here is that the mainstream media is not saying what Castro really was, which is a dictator. He was a murderous, revengeful dictator. We'll go through some of the mainstream media and show you guys exactly what they're saying on Twitter. We're going to start off with the Associated Press. And the Associated Press here says, the former Cuban president, Fidel Castro, who defied 10 U.S. presidents during half a century of rule, dies at 90. Again, former Cuban President Fidel Castro dies at the age of 90. His brother, President Raul Castro, announces. And they keep saying president. They don't say dictator. They don't say murderer. They say president. See that? When you have a dictator, there is no presidents. So this word shouldn't even come close to his name. All right, let's go next to Fox News. And Fox News says that former Cuban leader Fidel Castro dies at the age of 90. Again, they're not saying dictator. They're not saying murderer. They're saying Cuban leader Fidel Castro. Now let's move on to the New York Times. And the New York Times takes it a step further than all of the other mainstream medias. And it just goes to show how corrupt and just idiotic the New York Times is. It says, Fidel Castro, the Cuban revolutionary who defied the U.S., died Friday. He was 90. And if you keep going down on their Twitter, it says that they have an obituary. You see this? The New York Times obituary for Fidel Castro. So at the New York Times, they're mourning him. They're mourning the revolutionary leader. The New York Times needs to come out and say, Supreme Leader Fidel Castro dies at 90. That's all they need, is for them to say the Supreme Leader. All right, let's move on to CNN. And CNN also says former Cuban leader Fidel Castro has died. And they keep saying that. They keep saying leader. See this? They put a quote that says, Cuba will be a different place because he lived and he died. People are doing this. You see, they're going out in the street, they're dancing, they're hugging. It's a happy time. It looks like a New Year's celebration. And they're saying, Cuba free. They're chanting, that's what they're chanting. They're chanting, Cuba is finally free. Even though it's still being ruled by Fidel Castro's brother, Raul Castro. Raul Castro is known to be a little bit more lenient when it comes to the rules, but he's still a dictator nonetheless. So it's still under Marxist rule. And we're moving on to NBC. And NBC says, breaking, former Cuban President Fidel Castro dead at 90, brother Raul Castro announces. Again, it says nothing that he's a Marxist. It says nothing that he... It says, your day is here on the back of her shirt. I don't know if you can see that. Your day is here. It doesn't say anything that he's a dictator, that he's a killer, that he would round up gays and put them in concentration camps, that he would ban people that would leave the country to come back in because they saw them as traitors to the nation or to the revolution. It doesn't say anything that they went in when they took over. They went in and stole people's money, people's houses, and forced them to, repurchase them, or just took away their money and said that they were going to distribute it to the people that were needy out in the streets and didn't have a place. So if you had a little house in Cuba, when these radicals went in to take over, they said, oh, well, you had enough money to buy it once. Maybe you have enough money. You should have enough money to buy it again, even though you owned it in the first place. And if you had a little bit of money, they forced you to give it to the revolution. If you had a job or a business, they forced you to pay a fee to the revolution. Everything was just fees all the way around. Kind of like the way China is, where you have, a permit for this, a permit for that, certificate for this, certificate for that. Exactly the same way. Because that's how a communist regime, that's how it operates. That's how they keep people in place, and they keep on, making them pay more and more and more, is by, giving them, certificates of this or permits for that, and certificates for this, permits for that. It's insane. Like China has like over 5,000 permits, and they keep putting new ones every single year. So it was the same way that Castro ruled in Cuba. But yeah, guys, finally this Marxist dictator is dead. And it couldn't come soon enough. He actually made it to 90 years old, which is the craziest part of the whole thing. The other guy, the second in command in his revolution, was this Che Guevara. He made the mistake of leaving Cuba, going back to fight another revolution, because that's the way that he was. He wasn't really for the revolution in Cuba 100% because he was Cuban, because he was actually Argentinian. He actually went to another country in South America that was also fighting its own revolution, and he was caught and he was killed by shooting squad, I think. So he died a long time ago, and now the other Marxist is also dead. So let us know what you guys think in the comment section below. I think it's completely disgusting for the mainstream media to come out there and say president, say leader, and not name him for his actual title, which is murderer and dictator, not president whatsoever. But yeah, let us know what you guys think in the comment section below. And like always, like this video, share this video, subscribe if you are new, and make sure that you check out our previous video. They should be coming up on your screen. And also make sure that if you are new, you click that golden globe. It's interactive. It'll give you the option to subscribe. And we'll like for you to join the community, and we'll welcome you. Thank you very much, and I'll see you guys next time. But until then, peace.